I did a whole series. The Lord told me to do a series on health and, kind of anti-aging secrets. People don't believe how old I am, but I tell them I have no dye in my hair. I have no fluoride in my mouth. I got no commercial deodorant in my armpits. I've got no aspirin, Tylenol, Panadol in my veins. And so I try to go as natural as I can. And so people started flooding in with questions, which surprised me. I never thought people would ask me. We're going to get into, first of all, a little bit of your qualification. It's almost too long to mention. You are a distinguished leader in holistic functional medicine in epigenetic healthcare. You've been involved in this for 4 decades. You're a speaker all around the world. You're published. You are the creator of innovative clinical algorithms and digital diagnostic tools that help healthcare providers interpret multi-system lab data from blood to stool, to saliva, to urine, to DNA. In other words, if I can simplify it, we would call you the researcher of the researchers. Like you fact check the researchers. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. And you've got 19 degrees and certifications, 30 published instructional physician manuals, and you're a professional tennis player. Oh, praise God. Or you're on the team, you're a professional tennis team physician. I love tennis as well. It comes with living in Florida. You're a faculty member of different places, Cleveland Chiropractic College, National University of Health Sciences, Logan University. I mean, it just goes on and on. So we're so privileged to have you, and we want to just dive into the kind of questions that people are asking me. And the first one might seem a little bit light, but I'll just start on the light thing because I try to go as natural as I can. And so people started flooding in with questions, which surprised me. I never thought people would ask me. They said, Pastor Steve, what do you use for deodorant? And I just came to find out that you and I share the same, deodorant. I got mine from Asia, but you get it from an American company that we can tell people about later. But the ingredient of this, which I believe you've come across and you use, is just mineral salts. That's what I put in my armpit. Mineral salts with some essential oils.
Right.
And there's no fancy name to this. It just says mineral deodorant. So do you use this?
I do. Yes, sir.
Does it work as well as the commercial stuff that's full of poison?
Very well. Very well. Yeah.
Well, that's what we try to do. We try to go natural. So, okay. So first question solved. Okay. That's what we use. We use mineral salts. And we can tell you in the link in the YouTube video where to get that mineral deodorant. All right, let's get into the more innovative stuff. Australia, New Zealand, the Tasman Sea and the Arctic waters, give us a lot of clean ingredients. Tell us, what is fulvic acid?
There's a lot of fulvic acid and humic fulvic acid that's out there. And let me just kind of put it this way. First thing we have to understand is what it's actually designed to do or why we think it's critical in the body. There's a term we use, that term is called microbiome. And for most people, they're aware of a microbiome in their gut. They're not aware of it in their lungs. They're not aware of it in their brain. They're not aware of it under the skin. Specifically different from the underarm area, and in females for the vaginal area. So there's all these different types of bugs that we have to live or to stay alive. Without them, we don't have life, right? So when you look at what fulvic acid is, there's a very unique abstract of what's pulled out of all of these pristine waters that have been there forever, that is naturally broken down and put all the elements that we need for the microbiome in it. And there's several different types that you can get. So the deeper and, let me rephrase it, the thicker and darker type that it is, it's acceptable, but it's not the purest form. Whereas the gold form, which is the deeper portion that's in there, it has a lot of sludge has been taken out of it. It's the purest form of fulvic acid that we're aware of on planet Earth. And it just happens to come from the New Zealand area.
Over half a century ago, animals living near a rare seam of Earth were discovered to be thriving after ingesting fulvic, a natural substance that carries goodness to plants and animals and puts back the missing minerals they need to thrive. Today, scientists continue to discover the dramatic effects of fulvic when we add it to our diets, replenishing our bodies with many of the essential minerals we need to promote the absorption of nutrients, support immunity, increase energy, and cleanse the body of toxins. Only a handful of fulvic seams were known to exist worldwide. Now, New Zealand, Earth's most isolated country, has uncovered a new fulvic seam. Found deep in the country's South Island, a place renowned for its rich and lush rainforest, this fulvic has remained untouched for millions of years, making it one of the purest the world has seen.
What I recommend people taking that is at least 3 of these droppers per day. And I start them off, I go 1 dropper a week, 2 droppers a week, and then 3 droppers from there on. And what we have seen that that's going to do, if you think about the lining of all the different things we talked about, the lining is where we have our protective mechanism, and it's part of our defense mechanism. And this microbiome lining they are doing a lot of the work for us, these bugs. And if we feed that correctly and get that strong, that makes it even better for our body. So again, for the brain, to the lungs, to the gut, to the skin, those areas, we're going to clean that up. So I actually recommend fulvic acid and using that on a daily basis. We see it change the breathing. We see it change the gut. We see it change the brain. People talk about all of a sudden they can think better, right? We call that the processability or the cognitive ability of the brain. It's like you have a thought, but you have to be able to process it and get it to come out. And when we look at the fulvic acid, that massively affects that, right? So that's a key back. Go ahead, Lester.
Yeah, I read on the bottle, I just got it. It says 70, it has like 70 trace minerals. So can I just replace all the vitamins and minerals that I'm taking and just take this fulvic acid product?
Not the vitamins. That's a completely different aspect of it. Mineral-wise, you have to understand this is feeding the bug lining, if you will, or the microbiome. It's not giving you those minerals to be used in the body, like your calcium, your magnesium, your potassium, your copper, your zinc, all these other factors. You still need that in there. But what this is going to do is make sure that the lining itself is fed. It's kind of like, think about your skin. If you have very bad skin, right, you have a poor protective layer of protection. This is actually going to go to your microbiome and make it stronger. And that's what breaks down most of our minerals and most of our different protein bonds anyway, and our fat bonds. So getting the microbiome working is what helps the rest of the whole body do its job.
Interesting. Okay, we're talking about making America healthy again. Let's do a lightning round because we don't know all these things. It's just amazing one company has like stumbled upon so many technologies, and I'm sure it's not, to me, it's like they just came across it, but I think they targeted, acquired it. Amazing. So tell us about Elevate Her. What is that?
Elevator is a unique product that's designed for specific aspects of the endocrine system of females, obviously. But we're trying to get a balance back into them. When I look at all the different hormones, there's like 17 master hormones in the female. There's only 12 master hormones, in the men. And we're really trying to find a balance there to where we don't get into phytoestrogens, we don't get into pregnenolones, we don't get pregnitidiol, estrone. When all these become imbalanced, all right, and they can start happening anywhere from the beginning of adolescence, 12, 14, 16, all the way into past menopausal. So Elevate Her is actually trying to rebalance all that endocrine system and get the hormone regulatory cycle back into play, right? So that you can read its system what's out of balance, right? So you don't get into those different dominants like estrogen dominance or whatever that's causing this.
So would the main ingredient of that be some kind of a yam extract?
There is a component of that balances that whole system out. When you look at the key components between your estrogens and your progesterone, right, and then your pregnitidiol, right, they are out balancing. Well, it goes back up into the brain to what we call the DHEA, just a different dehydroepiandrosterone pathway. And it just creates that homeostatic balance back in there. We talk about when something's too low or something's too high, it's coming back in and keeping that balance in there. So there's a term, it's a long, big word, beta-glucuronidase. When that gets in balance, you get into estrogen dominance, and this keeps it down into its play of hormonal balance area.
Yeah, excellent. I've heard of DHEA for 20 years, and it seems to be like a master hormone that can then become all the other hormones
in the brain.
So that's well researched, and you can take it, you can have it to take care of premenopausal symptoms, menopausal symptoms. I was curious about this. I need the doctor to say, can I take Elevate Her, or am I going to turn into something else?
We understand that of the 12 of the 17 master hormones, it'll help balance us out as well.
Okay, so it's a bit of a marketing name. Men should take it?
Can
Take it. All right. Well, maybe not priority then. How about Emulin 5? What is this?
MN5 is a very unique product in that it was designed to come after some unique aspects that diabetes will actually have an effect on, or sugar balance will have an effect on. When we look at the substrates that are in Imulin 5, it's really designed to go from the brain down, right? Now, as I tell people here, we're actually going to go clean up the demand load. Who's the greatest consumer of, or what is the greatest consumer of sugar in the body? As we said earlier, it's the brain. So if there's an imbalance in your sugar regulation and big words like glutamate, glutamine, a glycogen, gluconeogenesis, again, all these different things, of these 7 major pathways are designed to put fuel in the body. The brain is the greatest consumer of it. So when it gets all these rancid sugars or these bad things going up in there, it causes a lot of problems. And what the unique aspects that's in Inulin 5 does, it rebalances all that, calms all that down from that side. It changes the demand load and it changes the processing ability. And it also has a couple other factors in it. It's got some vitamin C and it's also got a probiotic in there. Once again, from the brain all the way down the gut, down to the lungs to help balance that whole system out.
And one of the things that caught my attention was when Dr. Ben said that taking even more fix would have a synergistic or compounding effect on your body. And I was wondering if that might happen to me, so I tried. I started to take double the snaps in the morning and double the snaps at night. And I started to notice results almost immediately. When I first started, some of my cravings disappeared, but when I took double the amount, I noticed that my cravings for food were even reduced even more strongly. And I was able to sleep earlier, or the nights where I wasn't able to sleep early, I still had a lot of energy for the next day, which is very unique. I kind of feel like the double dosage has also doubled or maybe tripled the effectiveness. I've taken a lot of health products in my day and I've never seen anything that has done something like that, where taking more of the snaps has increased the effectiveness so clearly and so drastically. So if you haven't tried Fix yet, I definitely recommend you put yourself on it. There's something that's really in there that can really change how your body works. And if you're not sure if it's working for you, try a bit more.
Okay. So back to my minister friend who's injecting himself with the unnameable substance. Should he be on, I'm going to try to make a recommendation based on my amateur knowledge here. He should be on Fix, Phix, and Emulin 5 because he's got diabetes type 2. He's injecting himself to suppress his appetite. Is that about right?
Well, let me do it this way, Pastor Steve. I've done what I call a stack of all these different products for people. Majority of people have some form of a disease. I'm going to put them on all 4 of them, right? The reason I'm going to do that is it hits all the centers that are imbalanced that are within their body. Now, if they have a very unique thing like diabetes, specifically type 2 or type 3 diabetes, once again, I'd probably put them on the Imulin. I'd put them on the NZ-fulvic acid and the Fix for sure, right?
Okay.
I just found with these products, for most people, the way these bodies are, and you have to understand with a lot of people, we're dealing with generations and decades of dysfunction that's going on in the body, right? And if it's going to take a while to turn the stuff back around, time is of the essence, as we said at the beginning of this. All right, timing is unique. I need time to work as fast as I can. If I can put all 4 of this stack in a body, I'm getting a lot faster results, right? And I'm getting a lot better repairability and turning around the degradation that's going on. I'm restoring or rehabbing the body by putting this 4 stack in there.
Okay. When we put all 4 in, some people are going to say, I can hear it. They're going to say, hey, that's going to cost a lot of money. So how much would that cost to do all that?
Well, let me tell you what our research showed within our clinic, our clinics that we did. Most people actually ate less food, ate out less, saved more money. In fact, when we looked at the cost of that, the average person was saving $250 to $280 a month on their food bill, right? And so by the time you look at doing this in the membership phase, you're probably looking around that kind of money, right? For all 4 of those products. So it's not costing them, it's saving them money. But here's what was even more important. it was saving them on costs going to the doctor and spending more money on even drugs. So when I looked at that concept, I'm going, there's probably not too many people that are going to have a problem with purchasing this over time. They might have at the beginning phase because they got to buy these products to start converting the body over. But once they convert this body over, they're actually saving money from all the research that we did on it.
And you can actually, they reward you for referring other people, your friends. They see you get slimmer, leaner, healthier, clearer. I had another very well-known prophet in America. He's started on it, and his wife said, "Hey, something's different about you. Your mind is working better." So this thing that people commonly refer to as brain fog, it lifts, right? Your mood is better. If your wife says your mood is better, I'm pretty sure that's like a scientific statement. Okay, that has to be true. So you can actually earn some income from this. That's really a blessing, isn't it? Because I believe in the end time, online business is never going to go out. Like all sorts of things will get disruptive. Supply chain will get disrupted. Brick and mortar stores are going to close down. You can see malls in America, mall after mall just closing down, especially after COVID. But this is like a blessing to have something like this that you can enjoy and you could tell other people.
Right.
How's that been working? How does that work? How does that work?
Well, this is me being transparent. When I first got involved in this, I wanted nothing to do with that part of the business. Right. Okay. And it's kind of interesting that, here we had like 200-300 people in the product already. And people were coming in to me saying, "Hey, can my husband get on it? Can my wife get on it? Can my family members?" All of a sudden, they become the influencers. I wasn't marketing it, but they were. And I sit there, and my staff came to Dr. Bowers and said, "We're getting hundreds of people wanting to come in and buy this stuff. We got to do something different. It's taking up our time." I said, "Well, they could just join and get it wholesale." "Okay, I don't care. That's fine with me."
Yeah, let me explain though, because people like to bypass, they somehow have a negative feeling about membership. Membership is like everything I do in ministry has a subscription.
Correct.
Just to run this I'm going to advertise it. I'm running StreamYard. I have to pay for that. If I have Dropbox, I got to pay for it. If you have Netflix, you got to pay for it.
Correct.
So with this, if people bypass the membership, it's like trying to walk into Costco and paying everything at full price. The whole point is you're getting Costco price for being a member. I'm not sure what the hang up is. So I'd rather get it at 20 to 25% off. And then you open yourself up to receiving some kind of benefit as you're sharing with people. So as a customer, you pay full price and you get no referral reward or commission. Would that be right to say?
Correct. It's almost like if you recommend a restaurant to somebody, who's going to pay you to recommend it? Nobody.
Wish they did. I recommend a lot of restaurants. They never pay me anything.
Exactly. Well, this is one where you're rewarded for your effort. And I like that. I think, if a man's going to work, he should be rewarded. That's scripture principle for me. So it's like, all right, well, go share this with other people and you'll be rewarded. And then it's not costing you anything. When I'm taking 4 to 6, 8 doses a day of something, that's not cheap, right? But this thing pays me more than enough that I never have to worry about the cost of it. My kids, my grandkids, it doesn't matter. Right.
So I say it this way. If you say you can't afford it, you certainly need like a what do they call it? A side gig or a side gig. So yeah, something like that. You certainly need like an online business to help you. And I think in the end times, it's a very good ethical way of supplementing your income.
Let me add one thing to that too, Pastor Steve, if you don't mind. Forget about the money. Forget about who you're helping. Because if you can help other of God's children, God's rewarding you. Yes, he may use this business to reward you, but God's rewarding you for helping that. And we are supposed to go out and share it. Now, I'm not going to at all compare this to the gospel, but when we can have something that's a God-given ability to go help people, I think it's our responsibility to share it. That's just me.
You just answered something very, very basic, okay? But it's a great answer. People think we social influencers will do better. And I don't think so. There are social influencers that I know that are totally about themselves, their channel, and they're not going to help anybody. If they knew something that was good for other people, they don't necessarily tell it. I'm the opposite. I just want to share anything that helps you, and I don't care about, what is the commission structure or whatever it is. I just want to help people. And I've done that. Like I say that with a clear conscience because I've done that without telling anybody on YouTube what I've been doing to help people. with very serious conditions, and we've seen turnarounds.
Sure.
So, I think the idea that you're just the average person, can you succeed? Of course you can. You have a circle of friends, you have a network of people that you touch that I couldn't touch, Dr. Ben Bowers couldn't touch. They're your friends. They're people that trust you, know you for years and decades. And you're able to affect those people's lives. And you have no idea. I don't go and recruit social influencers. I know them. And a lot of them are busy with their own stuff. I don't know what they're doing. They're selling, I don't want to make fun of it, but they're selling gold or silver or whatever. And I'm just like, I can't really sink my teeth into any of that because I'm here to help people. And if I help you to get better, it's a part of ministry. It's a part of my life.
God said, Ben, you need to share this. We're going to touch my children. And that's part of my ministry. This way I get to reach out and help people, right?
And this is all I meet in MPG. So far, I've just met generous people, help each other. It's just been wonderful to be a part of something so helpful, so ethical. One last thing that I didn't ask you, I think this is probably a huge market we didn't touch on, but what is the slim coffee? I mean, this is yet another pathway or another system that concerns fat loss.
If you drink the right type of coffee that turns on the burning mechanisms and once again hits that ability of the vagal system, specifically into the parasympathetic side, and actually says, okay, we have enough, we're not hungry, we can burn this fuel, you actually go turn on the ability to process that stored fat. Right now, that's going to be just plain white adipose tissue. That's not specific to the visceral fat or the subcutaneous fat. But still, we've had people lose 60, 80 pounds just drinking this slim coffee, right? Again, it's a natural type of coffee. You're not going to drink 30 gallons or 3 cups or whatever a day. You're going to drink enough to satiate that, and you actually feel that burn going on in your body. You just feel the energy coming on to you, right?
I heard one of the mistakes people make is taking coffee at the start of their day. Like God made coffee and it has some health benefits, but you don't start the day with it. You should start it with Fix and Fit. Am I saying the right thing?
Yeah. 1.5 to 2 hours later, I tell people that the first hour is the best time to put your Fix and Fit in, as well as your Inulin 5, as well as your fulvic acid. That's why I like that stack all right there in the morning. Then an hour, hour and a half later, if you want a cup of coffee, pay attention to the body. Most people are habitual, right? Meaning this is what I always do. This is how I do. This is my day. And they don't learn how to unhabituate themselves. And if we pay attention to what turning these switches on and feel the body does to you, you'll go, I'm feeling different. So I always tell people, stop and ask, do I need this? Yes or no? Habitually, I want to go grab an ice cream bar. Do I need this? Well, no. All right, now we can separate the desire of the body versus the desires of the habits.
One of my friends in Tulsa, she created for years and years the #1 website in the world on healthy coffee or slim coffee. And she kind of gave up on the companies that she's been involved with, and she started looking at MPG's technology, and she's jumping out of her skin. She's talking about, is it xantho, humol?
Fuel, right.
She says all these ingredients are amazing, and she's going to start putting it on her #1 website.
Cool.
Give us a little bit of a scientific breakdown for the amateur. What is it doing?
Well, the primary thing is you're actually getting into that endocrine system, which is, let me qualify it this way. I always ask people, why do we have hormones? What does the hormone do? The hormone is kind of like the supervisor of the body. You have these 600 different divisions, 600 different components where it's managing things happening in the body. And when you have the degradatory effect or the ability to start shutting things off, things is out of balance. You get bully ones, which means they're going to override somebody else to make them do that. And when I look at what happens in the humoral aspect of the endocrine system, it brings that homeostasis or that balance back in. This is okay. We're a little deficient over here. Let's send some help over there. Okay, you got too much over there. Let's pull it over here. And it just rebalances this whole system out so the body can read itself. If you understand that the brain is 80% sensory input and only 20% mechanical output, the body needs to understand what message to send up to the brain. And then the brain needs to understand the message it's receiving. As we kind of talked about earlier, when switches get switched off, if there's too much imbalance there, it just ignores those different parts of it. We see the same thing in hormone systems. We see it in a lot of other factors. We see it in the immune system. And what this is going to do is just bring the balance all back into the body, Pastor Steve.
Okay, that's a good kind of coffee. But my wife's a coffee drinker, and so I'd rather have her on something healthy for her body. Please tell us the last question. This is from Pastor Rod. He would like me to ask, what is the value of going on auto ship? I'll just summarize. You've got 3 steps. If you go to vegaslife.com, you got 3 steps. You get the membership it's very little, like $9 to $29 for different countries. You got to pick the right flag, by the way. You start by picking the right flag on the right-hand corner. So you get the membership, you get the first starter pack, which is probably the best value. You get a lot of stuff. And then you do this thing called auto ship. And many people don't understand that. What is the value of subscribing and getting it coming monthly?
Let me answer it this way. What's the value of eating every day? It sustains life, right? So if you're going to actually find a product that actually repairs and regenerates, or helps stimulates that, and we're in a world where we're constantly bombarded with altered food, altered electronics, altered everything that's out there, these bodies are constantly under attack. So I want something that's in there that's going to constantly turn it back on natural, right? So let me answer that question this way. I'm 68, and I take everything I know that turns the body back on. Now, I still have all my hair, most of all my teeth, right? Still healthy and vital, even though I've been paralyzed 6 times. Well, I'm going to take something that turns life on and shuts off bad stuff, whether it's precancer cells, whether it's adaptogenic, morphogenic cells that cause inflammatory reaction in my body. I told you my story about the double pneumonia. I want something that's in there. But let me tell you what the research says. Research says that once you get past that 18 to 24 weeks, it's constantly keeping your body in balance. And so why should a person take it? Well, if I also look at cancer cells are constantly being produced, over 1 million different cells change per minute in the human body, right? And if I want to get rid of the bad signals and I want to stimulate new cell growth and new repairability and actually generate a healthy body, I tell people this: I want to die healthy.
Amen.
As crazy as that seems, I don't want to die of disease. I don't want to die of dysfunction. I want to die a healthy man when God says, "Son, come home." Right? So I'm going to do everything I can to keep this body as healthy as I humanly possibly can. And that's why I'm looking at why a person should stay on this for life. That's my concept. There's very few things, Pastor Steve, I tell people in my 42 plus years of being in healthcare and all the research, all the stuff I do, very few things I would say for the rest of your life, you ought to take this. I think this bitter acid concept is one of those key factors because it turns all the light switches back on so my body knows what's wrong. Now, when I had cancer, I was taking 80 pills a day. Okay, I still take probably 20 different all natural capsules or gels that I do on a daily basis. I've come down from over 30 some down to 20 just by being on these products. I think eventually I'll probably get down to 10 or 12. That's what I'm looking at. So of all the time that I've literally spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours researching this, I'm going to tell you that this is a key component toward life, generating life. And when I look at the DNA aspect, genetic aspect, once we get over that range, about 32, 33, it's downhill from then on. And if I can turn back on things that are rebuilding me faster and making me healthier, why wouldn't I want to take that?
You and I are the same. Like, we got to where we're at today. People think, oh, it's easy for you and not for me. No. You don't know what we had to overcome. Correct. So if it's not too personal for you to share, in closing, would you tell us you had a traumatic experience as a child that could have completely destroyed you and you wouldn't even be here? How many things we overcome just to get to the solution? Could you share with some of the audience that might relate to what happened to you?
9 years of age was when I first gave my life to Christ. All right, I was excited. You have to understand, I grew up in a family that we didn't have TV. Our entertainment was we read the Bible every night, right? We live in a community where if you wanted to play with, there's 13 kids in my household, right? If you wanted to play with them, you had to be at the Bowers house on Thursday night for Bible study. That's what we called it, right? And so I grew up in that environment. 6 months after that, a unique thing happened in our family. There was a family friend that lived about 35 miles away, would come and spend the weekend with us. Well, long story short, he ended up molesting me and my brothers, right? And this was a very traumatic ordeal in my life. I had great difficulty with that at that age. Between 9 to 11 years of age, it happened over a 2-year time frame. We had trouble trying to express this with our parents. We didn't know how to, because he said, if you ever tell anybody, I'll kill you, those kind of things. And me and my brothers, it was just, we actually became very bitter kids. A lot of trouble, a lot of problems. It changed my life in a lot of ways. And finally, it came out when I was 12 and a half years of age. And long story short, that man was arrested, put in prison. All these things happened. But that altered my life through my teenage years. It was very hard. I look at the hell that I went through, that me and my brothers that had to live through and come through with that. And I questioned God as a teenager, right? I went out and did a lot of bad stuff. But I was raised with the aspect that God would always be there no matter what. I couldn't understand the storm, but I somehow knew he was still there. And so finally at 18 years of age, 18 and a half years of age, I rededicated my life to Christ again. And I got married to my high school sweetheart. I want to add this part in here because this was very unusual as well. My wife ended up contracting a very rare disease. It's a male's disease, myotonic muscular dystrophy. At the time, there's only 37 women in the world that had it. And 5 of them were in her family. And they gave my wife 3.5 years to live after our second pregnancy. I served a different God. And I said, God, you pulled me through hell. I'm asking you to do it again for my wife. And that's when God said, start digging, son. Start researching. Now, fast forward, my wife lived 22 more years with that disease before her life did finally subside. And I spent a lot of time with my God. And my God let me realize it was her time. And he basically said to me in the spirit, he said, Ben, I gave you an extra 22 years. Why are you upset with me? I wasn't upset that she went home. I was upset that I was alone. And the Holy Spirit said, you're never alone. I've been with you the whole time. I'm always here with you and for you. Don't give up. Ben, get closer to me. The closer you are to me, the more intimate we are, the more that we are together. And I'm in you and you're in me. And that's what Christ told us. He says, as I and my Father are one, you and I are one. And then you and I are one with the Father. And I want to give anybody hope out there that's been through anything hellacious, whatever term you want to call it. Because if you get close to God, he's close to you. He's never leaving you, right? His love is beyond our fathomability of what love actually is. And that will change your life. So I'm going to encourage you, dive in, dig in, get as close as you can to Christ, and let the Holy Spirit do his work in you, and your life will be completely different.
And I'm confident that you would not be the person you are today and research to the depth that you've done to save us a lot of time and
Correct.
be able to share what you're sharing with us without those experiences. So you've redeemed those pains into I say your pain has become our pleasure. We get to benefit from your knowledge and your experience because you overcame. So all of you listening, you can overcome whatever the issue is. Just don't tune out, listen, have an open heart, and take some action. A lot of times when you want to make a change, you have to change. You have to be
It's real when you say that the scripture, Pastor, greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. When you have that peace, only the peace that he can give.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, and we'll just say again, you can find all this information and more and testimonies, living real testimonies at vegaslife.com. Keep looking up.